Hello, it's Film Frenzy, and today I'll be ranking all 5 DC Extended Universe films. So let's get started with the worst of the bunch, Suicide Squad, the anti-hero slash villain team-up film. Okay, so with my Marvel video, I said how no Marvel movies are truly terrible. Well, Suicide Squad is truly terrible. A 1.5 out of 5 right there. That's a 3 out of 10. That is pretty god awful. I mean, look how many pros there are compared to the cons that you're about to say. So, I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, so let's have some fun. Anyway, the characters don't have enough time to develop except for Harley Quinn and Deadshot, and they're just very dislikable and uninteresting, and they really just missed out with Joker. Like, it was all weird, and then the relationship was weird. The action was just a bunch of like fighting zombies, and it was just a blue sky beam. It wasn't like at all interesting. The plot was all over the place. The tone was all over the place. The pacing was all over the place. The villain turned out to be pretty bland, and the humor often was kind of dumb and just didn't really work. So overall, after having Batman v Superman, this movie just hurt the DCEU so much because they really needed a win here, and instead they got one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. Next up, I have another bad DCEU movie, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So this movie I would also give a thumbs down, but at least has a 2.5 out of 5. So it's just a tiny bit below average, and honestly, there's so much potential here. It's kind of sad. Like, the trailers looked amazing. So did they for Suicide Squad, by the way. DC is amazing with trailers. But there was a lot of great stuff. Batman, I thought they did an amazing job. Ben Affleck, I thought he was really good as Batman. It could be the best Batman ever, I think. It was very deep and stuff. It had some good themes that, like, about justice that kind of got muddled down with, like, the bad plot and stuff. And then there's some really good Batman fight scenes, and the dark visual style worked well for Batman, but not as much for Superman. They messed up Lex Luthor. They made him more like the Riddler. It was too long, and just the messy plot with and pacing. There was no jokes, for crying out loud. They underused Doomsday and Wonder Woman. Doomsday didn't even really fit into the plot, and I just thought that like this is a really good movie. Could have talked about justice in a really good way, but instead they kind of just bogged that down with like irrelevant like subplots and stuff like that. Coming in at number 3, I have the newest DC film, Justice League. So Justice League really is a mixed bag. When I first saw the reviews at like 39%, I was really worried, but I left very happy because I actually gave it a 3 out of 5. That's a thumbs up. You know, it was more than I was expecting, and it's a real mixed bag. But it's a crowd pleaser and very entertaining overall. I mean, I really like the lighter tone. Some of the jokes really don't work, but a lot of them are very funny. I really like some of the character work with like Cyborg and of course Wonder Woman. And I think some of the Aquaman and Cyborg fight scenes were really cool. I love when Aquaman uses his pitchfork and stuff. Um, Flash was pretty funny to watch. So was Aquaman. I love that intro with Superman. It was very emotional, and I think it had pretty good pacing. And by the way, the mid-credit scene, the funny one, and like the teaser one were amazing. Maybe the best mid-credits and post-credit scenes ever. I mean, then you also have the cons, where like it's very predictable and just like a very regular superhero movie with like the plot, like the blue sky beam at the end. Again, seriously, this Man of Steel and Suicide Squad, the villain might be the worst ever because it was so bland. Like Steppenwolf, he's just like coming to conquer Earth, like whatever. And then like the final battle was just in such a bland setting. Like ugh, it was not a very good scene to watch. Although some of the action was pretty solid. Um, and the film, like, there was some just, like, lines and just scenes that were just flat out stupid. Like, Lois Lane tells Clark, "You smell good." And it was just like, what? I mean, that was one of the cringiest lines, but there were others. And there was, like, some that just sound so staged, like, oh, like, we're, like, part of, like, you know, the Justice League, but they just, like, made themselves sound like they're, like, trying to be like the Avengers, but just not good enough. Like, so, I mean, some of these lines would have worked if it was like a really irreverent and like just kind of making fun of itself, but it wasn't, so that's a big problem. Overall, the film's pretty entertaining and a big improvement on the DC Ensemble movies, so that's why I'm giving it a thumbs up. Now I have Man of Steel, which I believe to be a very underrated film. So I saw Man of Steel opening day in theaters, and I was at first before seeing it, I was a little bit skeptical about it because I wasn't a huge fan of the original Superman series. I found Superman to be a fairly boring character, not really relatable. And then I saw this and I was like, wow, this new take of Superman is amazing. I saw the reviews and I was really disappointed by the 55%. But honestly, I feel like this was a great like just intro to the DCEU. It was a long gap between this and Batman v Superman, but this has got great character work. It's a great cast. I think it was good that I ignored Kryptonite because it just like focused more like on realistic parts of Superman. Um, there was a really good villain actually. I thought about like with Michael Shannon's Zod. I actually really liked him, and there were some pretty good action sequences, though they could be a little bit CGI heavy between Zod and Superman. And it was just kind of a good like the big ending. I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's just really emotional, and it was like where Superman has to like go by his principles and decides like good people over like his own race, and it's just a really powerful theme right there. So this movie is super underrated, and I think it's a very solid superhero film overall. And of course, number one is Wonder Woman, the first ever live action female solo superhero film. I was hoping so much that Wonder Woman would be great, and when I saw the reviews come in, I was like, yes, finally, this is what the DC Extended Universe needs. I was a little skeptical about it being just like the reviews, or partially because of it being like the first female superhero movie, but that wasn't the case. I saw it and I was like, wow, that's actually an amazing movie. It's super great superhero film, and probably one of the 10 best of all time, honestly. I mean, first off, that poster is just beautiful and really reflects the beautiful cinematography, the fight sequences, and direction of Patty Jenkins, and like the contrast between Themyscira and like London, and like is so good. I love how the tone mixes like the drama and these hilarious jokes so well. Great cast, great acting, especially from the chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot. Um, some of the action scenes with like No Man's Land were just so good. I love the optimism that Wonder Woman like exudes. The first two-thirds were great. I I thought some of the action was a little bit like the main battle was kind of rushed at the end, and the reveal was a little underwhelming with it being a little bit of a CGI fest. So I thought the first two-thirds were amazing, and the last like act was a little bit of a letdown, but it was still an awesome movie. And though the plot is a little bit regular and follows Captain America: The First Avenger a little bit too much, I thought it just differentiates itself enough, and it has a really powerful theme about like people like having both good and bad parts, and like it's what they embrace and stuff. And so it was just a really awesome film, and I'm so glad that the DC had such a big win. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe for more awesome movie rankings, reviews, and movie news. And comment down below your opinions on the DCEU films. And also comment other reviews or ranking videos you'd like to see in the coming weeks from my channel. So, see you guys later from Film Frenzy. Bye.